Shalom, we all praises to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, the honest, the apostle, Extremist, the Ruel, and the rest of the prophets and Howies and Bowies is doing the works in truth and sincerity. Today is going to be a quick lesson. It's going to be a current events video. It's a news article I came across. Actually, I found it on someone's Instagram post. Decided to look it up for myself because I was in disbelief when I saw it. So I'm going to go ahead and read the headline. It says, this California city will pay transgender residents $900 monthly. So basically what they're doing is they're showing sympathy to evil. And now they're going to be giving these set of people $900 monthly just because they identify as transgender or non-binary. Now, they're quick to give this set of evil $900 monthly rather than the people that went through slavery, our people, which is known as so-called African Americans or so-called black people. Okay, we was lynched, we was robbed from our heritage, and what are they doing right now to make amends for that? They should be giving every Israelite, okay, the Native Americans, so-called Mexicans, so-called Negroes or African Americans, they should be giving us 900 or even more than that monthly for what they did to us. But instead, they can give $900 monthly to the transgenders and non-binaries. That's crazy. And now it's just one city in California, but there's no telling. This might happen in other cities too. And either way, they will protect the transgender according to the law faster than they'll protect an Israelite, or I should say, an Israelite that's not a trans. So I'm gonna go ahead and read some of this article. We're gonna read some scriptures, and then we're gonna close off. So this is I think this is an Instagram post right here. It says it says the same thing. A California city to give universal income to transgender, non-binary residents regardless of earnings. It says transgender residents in one California city are eligible to receive a universal basic income of up to $900 per month solely for identifying as transgender non-binary. No strings attached. So no matter how much they're making, they probably could already be rich. They could be making a decent amount of income every month, but it doesn't matter. They still can get $900 monthly. And the thing about that is, not even just our people, universally, in order to get food stamps, you got to be making so much a month. So if you're making more than what is on the policy, you're making too much money, you're not gonna get your food stamps because they see it as though you already make enough to provide for yourself. But with this income, okay, with this California city, they will give them $900 a month regardless of what they make, just because they're transgender. That's crazy. Okay, let me go ahead and read this. We can get into some scriptures. According to Fox News, Palm Springs will pay transgender residents $900 monthly solely for identifying as a trans or non-binary, no strings attached. This universal basic income will go to trans residents regardless of their income. The Palm Springs City Council voted unanimously to pass this and has set aside $200,000 for this new pilot program. The new program will allow 20 transgender non-binary Palm Springs residents who receive the free money funded by the taxpayers for 18 months. With advocacy-based health center, DAP Health and LGBT advocacy group, Queer Works managing the program. Palm Springs Mayor Lisa Middleton, who is a transgender woman, says transgender Americans suffer extremely high rates of unemployment. Transgender Americans face enormous challenges living full and authentic lives. So they're saying that the transgender Americans face enormous challenges. What about slavery? What about the challenges that our people are still suffering today? Okay, what about white privilege? But y'all can give $900 a month to these transgenders. And I bet most of them are heathens, which heathen means a non-Israelite, okay? The mayor said those challenges have increased substantially in the past few years as transgender children and their families have been targeted by extremist legislators and governors. Okay, so that's crazy how the world works. So we can get to Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8. First of all, we have to give reasoning to why we preach and what a prophet is supposed to do. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. So that's what a prophet's job is to do. We're supposed to preach against evil, and we're supposed to prophesy, speak of the future. So when we come out into the highways and byways, the streets, we talk of the future events such as nuclear destruction, the RFID chip, and we are seeing these things come to fruition. And evil, okay, we're supposed to speak of evil, and we know that a man laying with another man as he laid with a woman, we know that's evil. We know LGBT is evil. We're not supposed to change what he already made us to be. That's like a spit in his face, like, oh, you made me a man. Well, I don't want to be a man. I want to be a woman. That's like a spit in his face because he made us, right? He made us to be something. But we're not supposed to change what we are. And these transgender people, when they change from a man to woman or woman to man, they still have, okay, according to the human anatomy, they still have things from what they were before. So they change to a woman, get breasts, kind of change their part, surgery. There's still parts within their body that's still going to remain from what they was before. So, Esau, whatever he's cooking up in the lab, which Esau's a so-called white man, he may change that in the future. But right now, they still can't change what their sex 100%. Because whatever God made them to be, that's who they're supposed to be. Okay, so let's go to Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So that's what they're doing nowadays. And woe means destruction, okay? Destruction to them that call evil good and good evil. So now the world is being twisted and turned. It's being turned upside down, like Stranger Things, okay? See, the upside down in Stranger Things was basically the world as we know it, but evil. It was darkness, okay? It was the opposite of whatever it was before, just like Bizarro is to Superman. So that's what the world is right now. It's become, and it has become Bizarro. Things that were seen as evil before, especially amongst our people, now it's seen as good. Now we preach against LGBT or transgenders. Now people see it as evil. And we bring out the Bible. Most people say, oh, how do we know what's in the Bible is true? How can we believe in the Bible? How we know it wasn't tampered with? Well, we know it wasn't tampered with because every prophecy in the Bible is coming to pass, and some of it has already happened. So there's too much evidence to how the Bible is accurate. So that's supposed to be logic is inaccurate. So let's go to 1 Corinthians 14, verse 40. This is for the people that say, I was reading the comment the other day. Somebody said that love is love as long as it's not illegal or it's not hurting nobody. So let's read 1 Corinthians 14:40 for that. It says, let all things be done decently and in order. So Yahweh, as the world knows, is God. God has already made an order. And through his prophet, he said, let all things be done decently and in order. Without order, there will be chaos. So if we keep changing everything that God has made, as God has made to be a certain way, we're just going to dive deeper and deeper into chaos. And these LGBT people is a prime example of that. God made them to be a woman or a man, and they want to change their sex. They want to change their gender. There's no order in that. Because we read in Genesis 1 verse 27, it says to be fruitful and multiply. You can't be fruitful and multiply if you change your gender or you're sleeping with the same sex. There's no order in that. We know the animals don't do that. The animals don't do that. And the animals, they do all crazy stuff. And they have the decency to know that there's order according to the genders. Okay? And about it being illegal, yeah, it's not illegal in man's law, but man's law doesn't mean nothing because it's about God's law. That's law of the land. We're not supposed to go about what man said. We're supposed to go by what God said. So yeah, trans or gays or lesbians, yeah, it's not illegal according to men. And who's the man that that passed that. It was a heathen. Okay? So let's go to Romans 1. Okay, we got two more scriptures. Romans 1, verse... See, this is prophecy right here. Romans 1, verse 26 to 27. It says, "For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections," vile meaning evil, "for even their woman did change the natural use into that which is against nature." So it's prophesied right here. It says, "Woman did change their natural use into that which is against nature." 27. "And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burn their lust one toward another. Men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, to those things which are not convenient." Now let's look at the word reprobate. I forgot to pull that up before I started the video. Okay, so it's prophesied that men would try to change their gender. Man, women going to try to change their gender. It's crazy. Reprobate. Morally corrupt. Okay, foreordained to damnation. And the first definition is all we need, man. Morally corrupt. To condemn strongly as unworthy, unacceptable, or evil. So we know that these acts are of a reprobate mind, which means that person's mind is corrupt. So there's no way you could justify that. Everything that God said is contrary to what these people are doing today, man. And that brings us to the last scripture, Jude chapter 1, verse 7. "Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication." Fornication means unlawful sexual act, right? "Over to fornication, and going after strange flesh, are set forth an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire." So Yahweh destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because Sodom and Gomorrah was heavy in sodomy. And that's what's going on today. We know trans, we know LGBT, we know that whole community is sodomy. Okay, there's so much scriptures to back it up. I want to make this a shorter video, okay? All right, so I hope I was able to share some current events and successfully back it up with some scriptures today. All right, y'all keep praying that Yahweh comes soon, because this world is only becoming more corrupt, man. We got LGBT getting sponsored. No matter their income, they're going to get money just because of the evil that they are, and they're calling evil good, man. That's a prime example of it, But that's my lesson. Again, double honors to the apostle Timus that rule well, the rest of the prophets that's doing works in truth and sincerity out there in the highways and byways. That was my lesson today, and with that, shalom.